I don't have any words anymore. What can you even say? I'm actually happy in a sense that this is the last time I need to sit and do this season. The fact that I'm not going to have to sit down and do a match review on the Old Firm this season, because it's just been painful every single time. We have been miserable, we have been pathetic, we have been spineless. These are a few of the words to describe our performances against Rangers this season, and today, well, it could be the worst of them all. They gave it the last dance patter, a couple of weeks ago, and then they tried to do it again, some fans. And I said that never sat with me at all, never sat right. When Michael Jordan was doing the last dance, he was on his way to win his 6th championship with the Chicago Bulls. Scott Brown, there's a joke in there that would get me cancelled about his last dance. It's unbelievable. And he's one of the many players who were absolutely pathetic today. 4-1, Rangers 4, Celtic 1. Can I just remind you that 3-4 years ago we were beating Rangers 5-0, 5-1, all the rest of it. This can all be brought back to that one point. I think as much as I've shouted and as much as I've moaned and as much as I've been very vocal at Neil Lennon being a very massive fault of this season, perhaps the biggest fault, you can take all this back to that day in the Scottish Cup final when we beat Hearts. We replaced a world-class manager like Brendan Rodgers with Neil Lennon in the showers, and it's got us to this point. That's me not taking anything away from Rangers. Let me just put out right now that Rangers were fantastic today. They deserved their win. They capitalised on, once again, Celtic going down to 10 men. Their goals were great. They done the job. Now they'll probably go on and get an invincible season. I can't fault anything Rangers have done this season. But as a Celtic fan, on a primarily Celtic-based channel, my job here is to talk about the problems at Celtic and our performance today. So I'm not taking anything away from Rangers before Rangers fans think I'm jumping to this conclusion that the only reason Celtic are losing in the state they're in is because they're that bad and Rangers aren't good. That's not what I'm saying at all. But there are so many things at Celtic that could have prevented the absolute shit show that is this season. And you can take it right back to that day. I done a bit of research at half time. Celtic obviously went down to 10 men. Callum McGregor sent off. The digression of our team since Brendan Rodgers leaving this club is unbelievable. Not just in terms of quality, but in terms of professionalism. The standards of the club, they've been constantly slipping on and off the park. That's the truth. The digression, I might say regression. The regression of our club is just unbelievable. And that was shown today in the red card once again. In 12 derby games that Brendan Rodgers was in charge of, in which I think he only lost one, by the way. That just goes to speak for the quality. But in those 12 derby games he was in charge, we got 1 red card. This season at Ibrox alone, we've got 2. We have made life harder for ourselves. Once again, not taking anything away from Rangers, but you go out and we started the game strong the first couple of minutes. We went forward, we looked good. The game was very open on both ends, to be fair, but we looked strong. But what chance do you give yourself when you're getting men sent off? Callum McGregor a couple of years ago was not diving in like that. Why is he diving in? The standard of professionalism, the standard that the players are at just slipped dramatically. And it's embarrassing, it's humiliating, and it's summed up in not just the performance, but of course the scoreline today. It's just unbelievable. It's hard to watch. Let's talk about the team and the performance today. Usually we do 3 things we learn, but what did we learn? That we're still shite, that we need a new manager, that we need an entirely new team heading into next season. When you see that performance today, arguably you're selling the lot. We always bang on about who and who's not going to be here. I don't care who's here next season at this point. I think we need to start fresh. It's honestly unbelievable. But you look at the whole team. Bain is, and I'd said this on Twitter, I quote my exact words, he is fascinatingly bad. It is unbelievable how bad Scott Bain is. And once again, let's just talk about the problems at Celtic and what you can put them around. You can put them around Peter Law, and you can put them around Neil Lennon, what you want. But there are certain things that show the problems at Celtic, and you can pinpoint certain players and situations. One I always come to is the Lee Griffiths situation, how he's not been fit, how we've given him chance after chance, we've been relying on him. That's one of the key problems at Celtic. But one of the other problems is the fact that Scott Bain is our starting goalkeeper. Scott Bain is a guy who signed for Celtic in an emergency type transfer the same day that he signed for Hibs. He turned up to the training ground in his Hibs training gear. He's a Hibs quality goalkeeper, and do you not actually feel bad for saying that about Hibs? He's not even a Hibs quality keeper, and yet he's our starting keeper. He's fascinatingly bad. Kenny is like an empty shirt. I thought Kenny was decent when he first came. I don't know what I was saying. I really don't. Honestly, tragic. Aye, and God bless him, he tries, but today, ducking in front of the shot, very, 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 very much of a shite bag move. Welsh, thought was bang average, can't say much. Taylor, I think, was better than Laxalt, but once again, the problems are there. You know, we could do better, we might need to reinforce ourselves in that position. Brown, Jesus. I mean, I don't know why he started the game. I've said time and time again, we cannot allow sentiment to come over the best interests of the club, and we did that. We did that today, and it went the way that I expected it to by doing that. It was poor. It was pathetic. Every battle that he was in seemed he was lost. Just very, very poor. McGregor, we've spoke about sent off. I've gone for the whole team here. Forrest couldn't get into the game. Feel like he's been rushed back. Couldn't do much. Elyounoussi and Turnbull thought were okay at points. Turnbull missed a sitter at some point, and Edouard, I think, was the best player in the park for Celtic today. But when you say that, it makes you go, wow. That's the kind of performance we were saying was the best in the park. The fact that was the best performance on the park. Because it wasn't that great a performance. Of course, he got us in the goal with an equaliser. But what hope have you got when you get yourself sent down to 10 men? And it's two silly bookings. The second one, I suppose, why are you diving into it, man? Chance, you know, the way that the ball falls for, I can't remember who puts the tackle in now, but the Rangers player takes the ball, McGregor dives in and takes him out of the game. Surely with the way that the player's facing and the way the ball falls for the Rangers player, you take your chances and you let him have the ball. He's not going to take it in the one and shoot. It's not going to happen. You know, he's got a bit of work to do. McGregor can apply some pressure off the ball. But instead he dives in, he takes his leg out, and then we're down to 10 men. And the worst part is they actually score from that as well. And a goal from Kemar Roof, probably the least kind of noteworthy goal of the game. Of course, took a bit of a deflection off Roof and went in. The rest of the goals were much better. But, you know, the fact that they got that anyway, it's just... Honestly, I'm fed up of watching this team this season. I'm fed up of seeing the same old things. It's been pathetic. I want over. If it was up to me, I'd forfeit the last two games. We need to make the changes now. We need to make the appointment this week. I mean, at Tuesday morning, it has to be said, and I'm confident it will be this week. I'm confident that we'll get into this week, and at some point, the announcement will be made that we've got our new manager. But it has to be on Tuesday morning. These season ticket renewals are coming out soon. And do you know what? It's annoying about that sort of performance. I must admit, see when I watch a performance like that, I think to myself, Eddie Howe, if he's watching, I'd be saying, fuck off, not a chance. I'm not imagining that. That looks helpless, hopeless. Eddie Howe, if he does take the job, which I'm expecting he will, I admire the level of ambition he's got as a manager, because I'd be looking at that thinking to myself, Christ, what have I got myself in for? You know, in anyone's right mind, they'd be looking at it and going, Jesus. Because, of course, we know the stature of Celtic. We know how big a club it is. We know how the history of Celtic is. It's a very attractive job to take. We don't need to take that away. But when you look at the team just now, think to yourself, I've got a lot of work to do here, and it's not going to be instant success. If Eddie Howe wants that instant success, if he wants to keep his name as high as it is in the managerial game, his stock is high, he'll want that success. But he's going to have to work hard for it. And big changes are going to happen next season. Far too many times, I think myself, of course, on this channel, but Celtic fans in general have had to say, just sums up the season. Too many times. That has been the phrase, just sums up the season. How many more times have we got to say that? You know, and how many times has it took for us to say that, for the board to realise mistakes? There's so many fundamental issues at Celtic that have led us to this point this season. It's a joke. Honestly, I just can't believe we've got to this point. I went into today's game very sceptical. I went into the game not with a great deal of confidence that we would win. We all knew this whole stopping Rangers Invincible League campaign was on the line. But just, you know, it doesn't matter the way Rangers have been playing. They've been very good. It was never going to matter how much we wanted to end that or not. I was still very sceptical, but I did not expect us to go out and lose the game 4-1. You look at the defending, the same problems. What are the coaches doing? I would love to have a run through of what's happening on the training ground and what players are doing, because I think it was Roof that scored again. Roof got two, didn't he? The header. He's running in. It runs about 18 yards or something without anybody picking him up. And he's not the only player. If you look back at it, he's not the only player in space when the cross comes in as well. What are the defenders doing? Why are they constantly switching off? It just baffles me that we've allowed ourselves to make the same mistakes week in, week out, and especially in these derby games. Fair enough for Rangers being tactically aware enough to pick up on these mistakes and these issues, because they've got goals from it and they've got results from it. But why are we not sorting them? Yes, we go down to 10 men. Try and butter up the game as much as you like by saying, oh, we're down to 10 men. Doesn't matter. These mistakes need to be drilled out of the team. And the fact that we are now 36 games out of 38 games gone in the season and we are still making these mistakes and we've not learned from them is just utterly embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing. I'm embarrassed. As a fan today, I couldn't even cheer when the equaliser went in because I still knew that the game was going to go south. But as every goal went in for Rangers, you just think to yourself, what's the point? We need the season over and done with. We need a managerial announcement soon. We need that kind of lift. Of course, whoever does come in is probably not going to take charge until next season. We'll see Kennedy finish off. But I think today is another game that highlights the fact that John Kennedy can't be here next season. A fundamental part of the problem too this year. You don't get, after that performance, how can you look at Strachan and Kennedy and that performance today and go, they should be part of the coaching team? Any of the two of them, not one in particular, just any of the two of them. How can they be part of it next season? We need to eradicate these issues. I have respect for John Kennedy. I've said it time and time again, but his time at Celtic's over. We need fresh ideas. We need a fresh start. And that starts by getting the people who are part of the problem out. It needs to be done. Aye, Rangers 4, Celtic 1. Never thought I'd be saying that this season. The Barisic clips, the no Celtic player, no Rangers player getting a Celtic team clips, the Shane Duffy clips have all come back to haunt me this season. But I think that anybody who has a sort of rational view in football will sit down and agree that I don't think we've seen any of this coming. I think that comes from both Celtic and Rangers fans. At the start of the season I could have said all that and I could have been wrong, but I don't think we would imagine me at the end of the season saying Celtic would be 20 points behind after not winning a single derby game all season, with all these problems. Never in a million years could anyone have envisioned that, especially when you go back to this exact day last year and things were going the way they were going. Never in a million years. So yes, I was entirely wrong with those things at the start of the season. And I've admitted that time and time again. I think I've handled it well. But I think to see anybody to claim they've seen this coming this year, I would love to see the crystal ball you're using. Because my Christ, no way would I've seen it happening. No way. I don't think anybody would have. We need to make changes. Dominic Mackay's in the stand today. He knows that big things have to come now. Money has to be spent. Dermot Desmond has to put his hand in his pocket. The next few months are vital. Let me know your thoughts of the game. I'd imagine they're just as negative as mine. And for everybody who's been saying I've been far too negative this season, and for everybody who says I've been a moaning bastard, and for everybody who says I can't get behind the team and I'm a Rangers fan in disguise, look at that performance today and tell me that I have been wrong this season. Tell me I've been too negative. That is the point we've got to. Like and subscribe. I'll see you all next time.